Well, a good Friday. Thank you for tuning in to the Gardener's Corner program, a Friday feature here on WKRX and TV Channel 10, located on Channel 191 on Charter Communications. My name is Rob Hall. Welcome into the Gardener's Corner program. We appreciate you tuning in. We are live in the studio today. So the telephone number to call is 336-599-0266. The Gardener's Corner program is brought to you by T.G. Brooks Company, Sandling Golf Cars, Owl Pride Foods, makers of Owl Pride Premium Pimento Cheese Spread and Dip, and we would like to welcome back on board South Boston Memorials. Glad to have our fine supporting sponsors. Should you ever have the opportunity to send business their way, please do so and let them know that you appreciate their support of the Gardener's Corner program. Without further ado, please make welcome, all the way from the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service, a man who gets up in the morning when he's getting ready. He just looks in the mirror and says, "Bring it, because I'm ready."
It always says, "Oh, no."
Please make welcome Mr. Cantalupe.
You know, if the fire department never needs a siren, the fire engine, you'd be good.
Good morning, my friend.
Good morning.
Well, you know, I've said this before and I'll say it again. You know, Mr. Don Carroll was who I, got the inspiration from to try to give you the formal introduction that you deserve. And I never can live up to it, but we will continue to try. And maybe one day we'll reach that goal. But we are live in the studio today, 336-599-0266. Hopefully everybody is ready for a safe Memorial Day weekend. We want to ask that you please take time over the holiday weekend to remember those that have fallen and given the ultimate price to endure our freedom that we love so well.
That's right.
Here in these United States of America.
Absolutely.
So, and if you know a veteran or someone, it'd be a great opportunity for you to shake the hand and say thanks, tip your hat to them, and maybe pass a salute along their way. I know they would greatly appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to jump right in. And, Carl, we had some pretty good rain here early yesterday morning. I live out on Old Allensfield Road, and with the rainfall that we had early yesterday morning and then midday, we had about 1 3/10 inches of rain.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this time of the year, it gets to where a lot of times it's not widespread rain, although I think most of the county got a pretty good rain yesterday. It was, a blessing to a lot of people. To some people, maybe was not so much of a blessing that had a lot of hay on the ground. But for the gardens and everything, I'm sure it done it well. And something that we had talked about on the show last week, and we'll make mention of it this time, on your vegetable gardens and flowers, try to keep more or less a watch on the moisture level in the soil. You don't want it to go from one extreme to the other, meaning sopping wet to bone dry.
Right.
Because when you see your plants and flowers start to suffer because of it being too dry, damage is done. So always try to maintain a decent moisture level in your soils where you are able to. Now, a lot of cases you may not be able to, but where you can, please do so, and I think you'll be satisfied with the work and the time that it may take to do these things to ensure proper soil moisture. And Carl, if you would, just real quick, tell the best way to check out the soil moisture.
Just take a long handle screwdriver, poke it in the ground until you feel resistance, then pull it out and you can measure and see how deep the soil is wetted. So if it's not wet down to a good at least 6-inch depth, you can turn the water on and water for a little while turn the water off, take another measurement, and by doing this, you'll know how long it takes to water your particular soil. Because people ask, well, if I water for an hour, is that enough? It might be, it might not be enough. So the only way you can do it is with the screwdriver test.
And also, whether you're using a sprinkler or a soaker hose, both will achieve the goal that you're after. Just the soaker hose may be a little bit more efficient because, as it said last week, I think all of us kind of feel good that when we water our plants that we kind of, wash the foliage off when that really doesn't need to be done, to where the moisture needs to be into the roots and things like that. So you can maybe pick up your soaker hose, or who knows, you may want to give drip irrigation a try.
That's right.
A lot of people have real good results with that. We're going to be talking about plant diseases and other things that you may be faced with, and Carl will give you some ideas on ways to hopefully prevent some of these problems. But Carl, I brought one question with me today. Had someone was asking me the other day, they have had a lot of black ants around their outside air conditioning unit, and they was asking me what would be the best way to get rid of the black ants. And I just asked the question. I said, are you sure it's not fire ants? And they said no. Said it's just these big black ants. And so anyway,
something must be attracting them to that area. I wonder if they have some exposed wood, on the outside of the house, or close to the foundation, that might be attracting carpenter ants. They were large and black, you say?
That's what I was told.
Yeah, I would say there's probably a source of rotting wood nearby, and carpenter ants do not feed on wood like termites do, and a lot of people think that they do, and I've actually heard one pest control company say, to hire us because carpenter ants, will destroy wood. That is not true. Carpenter ants only set up housekeeping in wood that's already deteriorating from some other condition. Too much moisture, water collecting. Carpenter ants will not attack sound, healthy wood. So anytime you see black carpenter ants, you need to go and locate the source of where they're coming from, and somewhere there's some wood that's rotting.
Okay. Now, after you remove more or less the place that they want to set up shop and change the address to, is it any kind of chemicals, anything that you can put out?
Nope, it'll just disappear once you remove the source of the rotting wood. Carpenter ants will go.
Okay. All righty. We are live in the studio today, 336-599-0266. And are we going to talk about the rosette symptoms first of all?
Yeah, rosette is now attacking roses, and I've got a couple of people sending in samples and wondering what they are. But before we let's see if this one is for us.
I don't think so.
Okay. So those of you that are watching the broadcast can see these slides. This is the symptoms of rosette. And you can see to the lower left, you can see kind of a constricted growth. Here's a better close-up of it. If you look at this at the slide here, you see a lot of twisting and distorted growth. And the symptoms can vary depending on the variety of rose that you have, and may include elongated, flexible shoots. Oh, okay. We do have one. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a call right now.
Good morning. Thank you for calling the Gardener's Corner program.
Hey, Rob. I got a question.
Okay.
What kind of soil does it take to grow blueberries?
Acid soil pH and well drained. A pH of about 4.5 that has to be brought down to that pH before you plant the blueberries by adding sulfur. And to do that, you need to get a soil sample taken first. let the sulfur react with the soil for about 3 months, and then go ahead and plant the blueberries. If you have heavy clay soils, blueberries will not do well.
Not do well on clay.
Nope.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, Carl, I guess needless to say that if you hadn't already done your soil samples and got the pH level lowered in your soil where you want to plant your blueberries, to wait 3 months, it's going to be a little bit late to plant.
Well, if you have the plants growing in a container, just leave them in the container.
Okay.
And then at the end of 3 months, then go ahead and plant them. Because otherwise, if you don't do that, the plants will continue to struggle all season long.
Okay. And also we'll make mention that soil samples are free to residents in North Carolina. You just have to collect your soil samples, put it in a plastic Ziploc bag, let it be free of any rock, roots, or, debris. Take it into your local cooperative extension service. Take a little bit of time to fill out some paperwork about where the soil came from, such as your address and what you're going to be planting, and they'll send it off, and you should have your results back in a couple of weeks.
Got another call?
We got another caller. Good morning. Thank you for calling the Gardener's Corner program.
Yes, I'm calling to see if there's any way you can determine what kind of apple trees you have.
You mean the variety of apples?
Yeah.
Are these ones that have been growing there for a long time, or ones that you've just bought?
They've been growing there since the 80s, and I just bought the piece of land a few years ago.
Okay.
And it has about 30 apple trees on it.
Okay, well, you can bring some samples of the fruit into the extension office, when they're ripe, and we'll take a look at them.
Bring it when it ripens.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
In other words, pick the apples.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
And it's a lot of different varieties, and but you can sometimes basically you can look at them, and sometimes the taste of them and things like that. It's kind of the telltales.
The appearance is will be a great aid.
Well, I have about 5 of them down there in the bottom that has yellow apples on it.
Yeah.
Right.
And when they start to ripen and they start turning black, what's causing that?
It can be due to any number of things. The thing to do when you have fruit trees, you have to follow a spray schedule throughout the season so that you don't get insects and diseases. And we have a good publication at the Extension Office, Insect and Disease Control in the Home Orchard. You can give us a call at 599-1195, and we'll send that to you. And what you should do is read that and follow the instructions.
Okay, thanks, sir.
All right, thanks
appreciate
for
it.
calling.
Yeah, it would be nice if it would all it was to plant the trees and harvest the fruit, but unfortunately, sometimes you get lucky and it's just that way, but you do have to have a spray regimen, to kind of help ensure, because it's so many different things that can affect your fruit trees. All right, moving on with this.
Get back to Rose Rosette here, because this is really infecting a lot of roses in the area. What you see here on the slide is what is called a witch's broom appearance. Excessive development of thorns, leaf deformation, retention of the juvenile red coloration in the shoots. Now, in this next slide, you can see the new growth. It has a very deep red color. And this is what you'll see. And in a lot of the shoots, you'll see extreme thorniness and flexibility. There's a whole bunch of thorns produced, and the branches are very, very flexible. So, and not all symptoms may be present in any given plant. Shoot proliferation and leaf deformation can also be caused by accidental exposure to low doses of Roundup. So if you observe this symptom, do some checking to see if spray drift might have occurred. Rose Rosette was only recently proven to be caused by a virus, but it has been long known to be transmitted by the microscopic mite. It's an eriophyid mite. These are not the same as the more familiar spider mites. Small size makes up for the lack of wings, and these mites can be carried on air currents. There's no chemical control for rose rosette. Since viruses become systemic, that means it moves throughout the plant, pruning may not be effective. Removal of infected plants is the safer bet. Bag the plants before digging to reduce the chance that the mites will scatter on the wind and take the virus to nearby plants. Remove enough of the roots so that the infected plant does not resprout. Also remove any nearby weedy multiflora roses that may be serving as a reservoir of the virus. Fragments of small roots left in the soil should pose no risk. Research has shown that the incubation period for rose rosette can vary from 17 days to 9 months. Incubation period simply means the length of time it takes for a plant to show symptoms once it has been infected. Is there a bright side to this story? Yes, there is. This disease does not affect other kinds of plants. Resistant species of roses include the native rose, Rosa setigera, and Rosa carolina. And hopefully some of these will be exploited in breeding programs trying to breed resistance into garden roses. So until then, vigilance and a shovel are our best tools against this serious problem. So if you see roses that have kind of strange-looking growth, the new growth stays red, and in the juvenile state, it almost kind of mimics herbicide damage like 2,4-D, because you can see kind of a distorted type growth. But if this is happening in roses, and it's primarily affects the new growth, you can probably suspect rose rosette. And again, there's really nothing you can do except to, just dig them up and get rid of them, unfortunately.
Well, Carl, if someone should experience one of their rose bushes to have the rosette, and they dig it up, is it safe to plant a new rose bush back in the same spot?
Well, probably be okay. I guess if you bagged it, put a bag over it and dig it up, and you can cultivate the soil. Probably a good chance that it would be okay. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, we need to get a word on for one of our fine supporting sponsors. We'll take a trip down to Timberlake, and we'll stop in at T.G. Brooks Company. They've been in business since 1936. They've got a huge selection of beautiful flowers and vegetable garden plants. Also, something else with it being a holiday weekend, why not head down to T.G. Brooks and pick up some of those hand-cut ribeyes, and you would enjoy them on the grill over this holiday weekend. Right now, we'll take a trip to T.G. Brooks Company in Timberlake.
So glad it's May and see the beautiful weather here in Person County. And May is full-time lawn and garden season, the time to have fun and beautify. T.G. Brooks Company has your plants too. Tomato plants, lots and lots of them at T.G. Brooks. Squash, cucumber, okra, cantaloupe, watermelon, lettuce, pepper, all kinds of pepper, eggplant, cabbage, broccoli, and also your herbs like basil, chives, thyme, oregano, dill, cilantro, peppermint. They have lavender. They have your garden flowers. Some are vinca, aster, marigold, celosia, petunias, zinnias, salvia, petunias, silver dust, violets, marigolds. Get your fresh garden seed to plant, and fresh grass seed and fertilizer and lime for your lawn. If you need mulch, man, do they have the mulch, even the triple ground mulch. Do you need straw, pine needles? How about potting soil, planting soil, or cow manure? They have spreaders, they have aerators for sale or rent. T.G. Brooks serves the homeowner and the commercial landscaper. T.G. Brooks Company handles everybody with the same courteous service. They can arrange delivery, or you can pull in with your pickup truck, trailer. They'll load it up for you. The bagged products they will load up in your car or van. It's exciting for May, and May to be here in the full-time growing season. When the day is done, nothing will top it off like a hand-cut ribeye steak, cooked to your liking and your family's satisfaction. Join the crowds rushing to 411 Helena Maria Road in Timberlake. Phone them at 364-2428. T.G. Brooks proudly has served the homeowner, farmer, and those in construction since way back in 1936. They welcome people from all over Person County and Rougemont, northern Durham, and of course all of southern Person County.
Here we are back on the Gardeners Corner program. My name is Rob Hall. Mr. Carl Cantalupi of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service is here, and he's ready to answer any questions that you may have pertaining to your flowers, your vegetable garden, or to your lawn. So just give us a call, 336-599-0266. That's 599-0266.
One thing that I think really needs to be talked about is if people that have grapes and are growing, especially bunch grapes, not so much the muscadine grapes, but the bunch grapes, and they really need to start spraying if they haven't done so already for the black rot fungus disease. And here's a shot of it here. This is what you, if you look at your grapevines, and you know, if you have ones Concord, Niagara, Fredonia, these are common seeded grapes. Of course, there's new varieties that are seedless. A lot of the varieties from Arkansas, Mars and Venus, do real well in the area. But anyway, this is how black rot gets started on grapes. It produces a brown spot. And then if you take a magnifying glass out with you and you look at the outer periphery of the spots, you can see little black pimple-like structures. And this is where the black rot fungus is contained in. And so what happens with black rot, it gets started on the leaf, then the spores blow from the leaf onto the grape, and you can see how the grape is starting to shrivel up here in the slide. And then if left uncontrolled, this is what happens. Grapes on the cluster get reduced to raisins. So the thing to do now to control black rot, to prevent it from happening, because once it's like this, there's really nothing you can do. And that is, first of all, you can remove leaves that have the black rot symptoms on, if it's not too bad. Remove the leaves, and then you can spray with a fungicide called Immunox, IMMUNOX. And this is the same fungicide that controls cedar apple rust on apples, when we spoke about that before. So the Immunox is good for black rot of grape. It's also good for powdery mildew of grape as well. So it's a liquid you mix up with water and spray, and you can find these find Immunox at garden supply stores.
Well, Carl, as far as the fungicide sprays and all, whether you use it, you spray for grapes or other fruit trees and things like that, you can use one sprayer. Just it maybe would be a good idea for you to rinse your sprayer out when spraying, you know, from one variety to the next. Would that be a safe assumption?
Well, if you have a sprayer and you're just using it for insecticides and fungicides, just a rinsing would be fine. If you're going to be applying a different insecticide or a different fungicide to another plant, go ahead and rinse it out beforehand, and you should be fine. The thing not to do is to mix herbicides and follow those with insecticides and fungicides, because not all herbicides or weed killers are able to be washed out of the containers as easy as others. For example, Roundup washes out pretty easily from a container, but herbicides that contain 2,4-D, it's very oily, and if you have you know, nicks or marks in the sprayer, or little crevices that this oil can stay in, it's very difficult to wash them out. So as a good precaution, buy one sprayer for herbicides and another sprayer for insecticides and fungicides.
Okay. Is it anything on the market that you are aware of, if it's maybe someone that has about a 15 or maybe up to a 25-gallon sprayer that has like the 12-volt pump on it? Is it anything that's available that you could put in the spray after spraying chemicals that would kind of sanitize the
Yes.
sprayer, so to speak?
Yes, there are cleaners that can clean the tank and remove pesticide residues. So yes, they are available, and you can find those, and that will greatly aid washing out the tank, and then through the sprayer wand and all of that. So yes, they are available on the market. Yeah.
All right. Carl, to look into things on your end, you had made mention to us the other week about you had neglected to treat
Oh yeah.
your peach tree for the borer. And you had said a few weeks ago that you hopefully killed the borer. How's your peach tree looking now?
It's still looking okay.
Well, good.
So I think I did.
And also you had said that you was having a little bit of problems with your grapes. Is that correct?
Yeah, little brown rots, not brown rot, black rot starting. So I followed my own advice. I pulled off some of the affected leaves and got on the spray of Immunox right away.
Well, good. Maybe that will take care of it. So, Carl, several weeks ago, you had made mention about due to the cold winter that we had, that it had taken out your fig trees, and it done the same thing with ours. And I spoke with the guy that lives up the road about 1 mile from us, and he said that his fig trees were just thriving and growing well. So I guess it just pretty much depends on the surrounding and everything,
Yeah.
as to how well your fig trees made it. And I can't remember, but I know you had said maybe back last year that it was one variety of the fig trees seemed to handle the cold temperatures a little bit better.
Yeah.
And was it the brown turkey fig?
No, the Celeste actually
Celeste, okay.
seemed like it handled it better.
Okay.
But all of them, even the large brown turkey fig that I had planted in the backyard, it really nailed it. But I did cut it back, and there are several new shoots coming up from the ground. So the best thing to do is to try to cut it back severely and get rid of that old, weak wood, so that the shoots that come up from the ground will be strong, and then you can start training them to be the trunks, later on.
Okay. Well, how about the pawpaw trees that you have?
They look good. I think we're going to have a crop this year because when they were blooming, they didn't get the frost. So by looking at things, it seems like we're going to have a pretty good crop of those this year.
Are you planning to go to the Pawpaw Festival in Winston-Salem again?
Yeah, well, there's no way out of it because I was asked to speak. So.
All right.
So-
Well, look, we'll move on to our next topic, but let us get a word on for one of our fine supporting sponsors. We'll take a trip down to Oxford and stop in at Sandling Golf Cars. They've got a huge selection of golf cars, utility trailers, also parts and service, and something else. If you're wanting a metal carport, they have them for sale at Sandling Golf Cars, 613 Lewis Street in Oxford. Are you in need of a trailer? Sandling Golf Cars has master tow utility trailers and tow dollies, dump trailers and equipment trailers up to 32 foot that can handle 20,000 pounds by load trail. You can also get Calico stock trailers and Pace enclosed trailers up to 24 foot at Sandling Golf Cars. So if you have something to haul, most likely you can find the trailer you need at Sandling Golf Cars. Some trailer payments start as low as $100 per month. See Al, Hillary, or Will for all of your trailer needs. Call Sandling Golf Cars at 919-693-4626 or toll free 1-800-221-9267 or log on to sandlinggolfcars.com. Or better yet, stop in and see the friendly folks in Oxford, just off the bypass at Sandling Golf Cars. Open weekdays 8 a.m. until 5:30 p.m., and Saturdays 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. Call 919-693-4626 or toll free 1-800-221-9267. Sandling Golf Cars is a Trojan battery dealer, and they also have a full line of Club Car and E-Z-GO golf cars, parts, and they also offer repair service on just about any brand of golf car. It's grilling season, and you would enjoy grilling out on a Wilmington grill from Sandling Golf Cars, 613 Lewis Street in Oxford.
Zofran, a prescription drug used to treat nausea and vomiting, has been shown to increase the risk of certain birth defects when taken in the first trimester of pregnancy. Call the Relion Group right now to see if you and your child may qualify for financial compensation for pain, suffering, and medical expenses. If you took Zofran while pregnant and your child was born with a heart defect, cleft lip, or palate, call the Relion Group at 800-946-1328. Call now.
Here we are back on the Garden of Sakona program. Rob Hall is my name. Mr. Carl Cantalupi of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service is our resident expert. If you've got a question for Carl, please feel free to give us a call, 336-599-0266. Carl, with the Memorial holiday coming up, as a lot of people listening and watching the show are aware of, that you're involved in a couple of bands and you play the clarinet. Any concerts or anything coming up in the near future?
Yeah, the Vance Granville Community Band plays its last concert. Will be on this Saturday, May 23rd, at the Raleigh Road Drive-In Theater, which is located on I think it's Business Route 1 in Henderson. So we're going to play there right before the movie starts, the drive-in movie, and so we have a lot of fun doing that. We have a little picnic beforehand, and so we play several patriotic tunes before the movie starts, and so that's what we do, to end our season with.
Well, that'll be great, and then I guess maybe I will stay and,
for the movie.
And enjoy the movie. What's the movie going to be? Tomorrowland with George Clooney, I think. Okay. And then I think The Avengers after that. Okay. And that's going to be at the Drive-In Theater in Henderson on Raleigh Road. So what time we all actually planning to perform, Carl? I think we'll start playing around 6. Okay. So maybe if you're looking something to do for the holiday weekend, that'd be a great outing, and probably wouldn't be very expensive either. Yeah, so. Yeah. All right, let's move along to the next topic, Carl. All right, let's see. We'll show a picture of this ferocious-looking insect here. It looks like a gigantic wasp, and actually that's what it is. It's called the cicada killer wasp. And I had a person call in the other day that sounded like she has this insect. The cicada killer is very, very big. It won't sting unless it's provoked, but what they do is they go after cicadas. That's why they're called cicada killers. And they'll actually parasitize or paralyze the cicada, and then you can see the wasp is actually dragging this cicada down into its burrow into the ground. And this is what people see. A hole in the ground, and you can see a lot of soil mounded up around it. And the cicada killer wasp likes to excavate dry soil. Now, where in the landscape generally will you find dry soil? Well, it's around the house, underneath overhangs, places where you don't get much rainwater. So this is exactly where this woman was complaining about seeing these holes and these ferocious-looking insects going in and out. But again, they don't sting unless provoked. But I mean, if you want to control them and they're in the way, and you're afraid of them, especially being close to the door, you can take some Sevin dust or carbaryl, and then just powder the entrance of the hole with that, and then
the wasp will get that on its body. So if you have problems with those, that's what they are, cicada killer wasps, and you can control them very easily with Sevin Dust.
All righty, we are live in the studio, 336-599-0266. Carl, you had said also that you wanted to talk about the seed corn maggot today.
Yeah. The seed corn maggot is an insect that normally appears this time of the year, maybe a little bit earlier, but have some slides here that shows pictures. This is the cotyledons of a bean plant. The cotyledons are the first pair of leaves that emerge after a seed germinates, and it might be a little bit hard to see the larvae or the worm on the left. Here's a bean seedling, and there's a hole in the seedling down close to the root system. Here is one. You can see the hole that goes right through the bean cotyledon as it's coming up. And here's a shot of the larvae that are inside the stem. Sometimes the larvae will actually chew out the insides of a seed. They'll chew the embryo out, and so the seed will never germinate.
So even though it is called the seed corn maggot,
it affects other vegetables as well.
Okay.
And here's a picture of the adult fly. And many times in the spring, you'll see these dead flies just hanging on to pieces of wood or something like that in the garden. I know I've seen them. They sit on the wooden plant stakes, and that's the adult, and they die like that after they lay their eggs. But basically, the seed corn maggot is a pest of beans, peas, cucumbers, melons, corn, potatoes, and other vegetables. It can be troublesome to gardeners because they feed on the immature plant embryo inside the seeds, tunneling them out, leaving a hollow seed coat. The food preferences appear to be the sprouting and seedlings or decaying parts of plants. Damage results in poor plant stands by direct feeding. The most severe damage usually occurs to spring crops in high organic, cool, wet soils in which the seed is planted too deep. Favorite places for laying eggs are near or on sprouting or decaying beans, peas, or in the vicinity of such organic fertilizer materials as fish meal and cottonseed meal. So that's what they prefer. The adult flies are often detected in the spring, clinging to vegetation. They are susceptible to a fungus disease during warm, moist weather, and that's what kills them. Weather conditions are important factors in the development, activity, and abundance of the seed corn maggot. Development is retarded greatly at average temperatures below 45 degrees or above 75 degrees. An abundance of organic matter and moisture is conducive to larval survival, and this is the important thing. If you have organic matter in your garden, the best thing to do is to make sure that it's well decomposed in the fall, because if it isn't, if it's left undecomposed, this is the favorite place of the seed corn maggot to lay its eggs. Avoid early planting in fields or gardens that have cold, wet, high organic soils. Shallow placement of the seed in well-prepared soil favors rapid germination, which evades injury due to maggots. So till your organic matter or compost into the garden in the fall so that it has ample time to decompose and not be attractive to adult flies to lay their eggs in the spring. Fall tilling will also kill any maggots to deny them the chance to overwinter in the soil. The use of seed that's treated with an insecticide is the easiest solution in the prevention of seed corn maggot injury. Most commercial seed is treated with pyrethrum, which gives maybe marginal control. But that's the seed corn maggot, and you might continue to see this for a while.
Okay. Carl, here it is. Just will say getting close to the end of May. Still plenty of time to plant any warm season vegetables?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, the field is wide open. Tomatoes, peppers, eggplants from transplants, sweet corn, snap beans, cantaloupe, cucumber, watermelon, squash, also from seed. The one vine crop to hold back on planting would be pumpkins. If you plant pumpkins from seed now, they'll mature way too early, way before Halloween. So you want to wait till probably the first week in July to direct seed pumpkins in the garden.
Okay. All right, we're going to take a break and get a word on for South Boston Memorials. We're glad to have them back on the program with us. They're located over in South Boston, Virginia, on Seymour Drive. They are nice, friendly people. They've been in the business since back in the 1950s, I should say. And if you are ever in need of a more or less a monument or a headstone, see them at South Boston Memorials.
South Boston Memorials, located 1439 Seymour Drive in South Boston, Virginia. They offer granite markers, monuments, and mausoleums. For more information, visit the website SoboMemorials.com or call 434-572-3859. South Boston Memorials have been in business and family-owned since 1958. In-house laser etching is available at South Boston Memorials. They have over 300 granite memorials in stock. For all of your granite markers, monuments, and mausoleums, stop in and see them right there at South Boston Memorials, located 1439 Seymour Drive in South Boston, Virginia, or call them at 434-572-3859 and visit the website SoboMemorials.com. That's South Boston Memorials, located 1439 Seymour Drive in South Boston.
Have you ever had an experience that made you think there's more to life than what you can see? Sometimes people call it déjà vu, that strange feeling that you've been here before, or an energy you can feel but can't see. We've all felt it one way or another. You know you've felt it. You already believe. You believe what Psychic Source clients have believed in for more than 25 years, that life's possibilities revealed are of real value. At Psychic Source, the insights our professional psychic advisors provide meaningfully impact the lives of our clients. That's why they keep coming back. No nonsense, no gimmicks. All of our psychics are experienced professionals, carefully screened and genuinely gifted. You already believe.
The best psychics are live right now. Call now for a special offer for new customers. 10 minutes for just $10.
Call Psychic Source now at 1-800-305-3802. That's 1-800-305-3802. Call now.
Here we are back on the Gardener's Corner program. Mr. Carl Cantalupi, our resident expert of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. Glad to have him with us today, and he's here to answer any questions that you may have pertaining to your vegetable garden, your flowers, or your landscape. Been talking about several topics this morning. Talked about the seed corn maggot, and if you are just tuning into the program, and if you would like to catch the first part of the program later this afternoon, if you log on to RadioRoxboro.com, we will have the show uploaded to the website, and you can watch the entire program, and you can watch past editions of the Gardener's Corner program. So those of you that are maybe just listening on the radio, if you log on to RadioRoxboro.com and watch past editions of the program, Carl has a lot of different slides with pictures, very helpful pictures to kind of help explain what he is talking about, to kind of help give you an idea of things that you may be having going on in your garden, flower bed, or your landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Carl, with here it is, you know, people putting out mulch and things like that. It's not going to be much longer before we start dealing with the artillery fungus, correct?
Yeah, that's the artillery fungus is a fungus that actually shoots its spores and attaches to surfaces of the house, siding, sliding glass windows, cars. So we find that the artillery fungus survives best in wood mulch. So the wood mulch that they grind up wood pellets with, this is the mulch that the artillery fungus prefers. They don't like pine needles or pine bark nuggets. So when you select mulch, try to avoid the ground wood because they harbor the artillery fungus. Unfortunately, there's nothing that you can do to spray on the plants to control them.
Okay.
But one thing that we did a couple of days ago during this past week is the Granville County Master Gardeners were very active in preparing the community garden plots that we have over there. And while we were doing that, there's a pecan tree in the corner of the vacant lot that was in bloom. So I thought it would be a good idea to just kind of go over pecan pollination, because there's a lot of things that have to happen in order for pecans to produce nuts. This slide is a shot of the female reproductive structure. You can see the very, very small nuts, and you see it better in this picture. It's close up. You can see the very tiny immature pecans, and right at the tip of the nut is the tip of the female flower where the pollen grains have to land on. And right now, this is what the pecan trees look like. These long things that hang down are called the catkins, C-A-T-K-I-N-S. And this is the male flower part that produces the pollen that lands on the tip of the very, very small nuts. And if they're not pollinated and fertilized, they just will shrivel up. So there's a lot of things that influence proper pecan pollination and fertilization, and that is, first of all, by proper selection of varieties. If you want to plant pecan trees in your landscape, make sure that you have at least two different varieties out of three. You need to plant a Stewart along with a Cape Fear, or a Stewart and a Pawnee. This will ensure good pollination and fertilization of the nuts. Many times when the pollen from one variety is shed from the catkins, the female reproductive structure, the small immature fruit or nut, is not receptive to receive the pollen. So as a result, we don't get any nuts produced. Also, weather plays a big factor. If the weather, if in the spring during pollination time is cool and wet, the pollen might not be viable. So even though the female flower is receptive, so
a lot of things that you said in the past really has to come into play.
Right.
And someone was talking to me the other day about they hadn't had any pecans in the last few years, and so many things. But to reiterate what Carl just said about one thing, if you have pecan trees and you have not had any pecans in the last several years or so, if you've only got one tree, you need to plant a different variety of tree, of the pecan tree. If you don't know what variety tree you have, you really need to plant two trees, one of one variety and one of the other, so it can pollinate with your existing tree.
Yeah, now if you have what we call a native pecan, one that came up and grew from an actual nut that was planted, those will survive, and those will, as far as pollinating and getting the nuts, they generally do fine, just by the pollen that falls from the male part onto the female part, and wind will accomplish that. The only problem is with native varieties that come up from a nut, the nuts are generally very small, and the shell is very thick, and the kernel inside is very small. So even though you might see a lot of native pecan trees growing in the area, when they do produce the nuts, you'll see that they're very small and there's not much inside. The improved varieties are sometimes called paper shell pecans, and these are ones that have been produced by plant breeding, and when you go to a nursery, you're actually buying a grafted tree of a known variety. And other failures in pecans, there's some improved varieties that do better if you plant them south of where we're located, South Carolina, Georgia. Varieties like Merrimack, Schley is another one, Mahan and Mohawk. These are all varieties that do better further south of us because they take a longer growing season to mature. And if you try to plant those varieties up here, what happens is that the kernels never fill out.
Okay.
So always know the variety before you plant, and if it does well in the area. And if you need help with that, let us know at the Extension Service.
That number's 336-599-1195. We're going to squeeze a word on for Our Pride Premium Pimento Cheese. They are who make the, it's made by Our Pride Foods. And we'll be back to wrap up this edition of the Gardener's Corner program.
Our Pride Foods, makers of Our Pride Premium Pimento Cheese Spread and Dip, is made in Roxborough. Whether you're having a family gathering or would just like a snack for yourself, be sure to keep plenty of Our Pride Premium Pimento Cheese Spread and Dip on hand. Goodness grows in North Carolina. Our Pride Foods, makers of Our Pride Premium Pimento Cheese, is available at T.G. Brooks Company, Hurdle Mills Market and Butcher Shop, North Main IGA, Twins Meat Market, Just Save, and Food Line stores. Also, if you're in Uptown Roxborough and get the hankering for some Our Pride Premium Pimento Cheese, you can enjoy it at Cole's Pharmacy and Triss's Espresso. That's Our Pride Foods, makers of Our Pride Premium Pimento Cheese Spread and Dip. Try the jalapeno added for extra flavor. Goodness grows in North Carolina, and Our Pride Foods, makers of Our Pride Premium Pimento Cheese Spread and Dip, is located in Roxborough.
Well, our time is once again slipped away on the Gardener's Corner program. Carl, any closing remarks?
Be conscious of your water in your vegetable garden. Don't let the soil dry out. Tomato plants are quick to suffer. Although we got recent rains that should last us for a while, but make sure your soils are kept evenly moist so that you don't cause plant stress, and you'll be rewarded with an abundance of vegetables.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in to the Gardener's Corner program today, brought to you by T.G. Brooks Company, South Boston Memorials, Sandling Golf Cars, at Our Pride Foods, makers of Our Pride Premium Pimento Cheese Spread and Dip. On behalf of Mr. Carl Cantalupi, Mr. David Bratcher Jr., as we affectionately know him as Kilby, all the staff and management here at WKRX and myself, we want to wish you and your family a happy and safe Memorial Day weekend, and we look forward to seeing you back next week for another edition of the Gardener's Corner program.